Thanks for joining us here on the Bearcat Sports Network. It's time to talk baseball for the 2017 season. We're joined by McKendree baseball coach Danny Jackson. And Coach, you came in last summer, new program for you after coming from SIUE. Obviously a little bit of a learning curve, not only with the new players here, but the players returning. Talk about how things have meshed with you guys so far throughout the fall and into the spring.
Well, we spent a lot of time this fall on becoming a connected team. You know, we got 12 new guys with a lot of returners and 3 new coaches. So the majority of our time this fall was spent on connecting as a group. We went bowling as a team. We spent a lot of time off the field together, doing some different things to get the guys to get to know each other a little bit better. So I would say this is one of the most connected groups I've ever been around. I couldn't be happier with the way we've meshed as a group. I mean, freshmen are going over to seniors' house to watch basketball games. You know, they had their own Thanksgiving party where they all had, dinner together without anybody there. They just did it on their own. So as far as a connected group, this is a very, very connected group, and I think there's a trust built up amongst them and the coaching staff. So I'm really happy with where we're at there.
Obviously, the fall season was pretty big for you and your staff to evaluate talent, to see what was still left in the cupboard here at McKendree, and to see the new guys that came in. Talk about that process, getting to see everybody out on the field and forming your ideas of what you wanted this 2017 team to look like.
Yeah, we decided not to play any outside competition just because we wanted everybody to be able to play every day. You know, we've got 38 guys on the roster. We wanted to make sure we were able to see everybody at every practice. So we played a World Series where we split the 2 teams up and they competed against each other in a 7-game series. And watching those guys get after it, and that gave us a better idea who could do what. And we've got a lot of talent. We really do. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out this spring.
You're at that point of the year. You've been practicing now in the spring season for 3 weeks. The season opener is right around the corner. Talk about the competition, what you've seen out of the guys so far this spring, and how that's all evolved.
Yeah, the guys are getting after it. I mean, they went home and they worked hard over break. You could tell they came back in shape, and they came back determined and ready to go. They didn't miss a beat mechanically on the mound and at the plate. So overall, extremely happy with where they're at right now. We inter-squatted this weekend for the first time and saw some really good things on the mound and saw some really good things at the plate. So I think once we put 9 guys out there, we're going to have a chance to compete with anybody.
Coach, this is the first of our 2-part season preview, so we're going to focus first on the pitchers and catchers, the battery for the Bearcats this season. A lot of guys coming back from last year, saw mixed roles, a few starters coming back, guys that saw action both as a starter out of the bullpen. Let's go ahead and focus on that rotation first. You have a guy like Nick Young coming back, who's a junior, who's been through the battles in the GLVC, really started to turn the corner a little bit last year, a team high in victories. And then you've mixed in some newcomers. Talk about what you envision your rotation looking like.
Yeah, we've got 5 guys who I'm pretty confident are going to compete for their weekend rotation spots. I think that, stuff-wise, Brandon Tatum, Brian Christensen, Brad Henry, they've got phenomenal stuff. It's a question of whether they're going to come out and throw strikes. I mean, when they do that, they could be 3 of the top arms in the league. And then you guys got guys like Nick Young and Terry DeVille who come out and that's all they do. They pound the strike zone. They compete in the strike zone. Terry can throw 3 pitches at any time for a strike. And Nick's got a devastating slider, and he's got that experience. Nick started off the spring a little unhealthy, had a little issues with his back, but he's starting to get healthy right now. So I envision him being more of a reliever to start off the first couple of weekends till we can build this pitch count up. But I see Brandon Tatum and Terry and Henry and Christensen filling weekend starting roles, and I think they give us a chance to beat anybody.
Brad Henry, much like the next batch of guys we're going to talk about, saw a lot of action in the bullpen last year. It's really a seasoned group that will see action behind the front line. You talk about guys like Matt Washy, Austin Starkweather, Dylan Salzman, and then you get towards the later innings, you've got Ryan Cates and Matt Henning, guys who started to fill those late inning roles. Matt Henning taking over as the closer last year. Talk about your bullpen for this season.
Yeah, we've got a lot of guys with a lot of experience. That's good. You can't teach experience. So, you got guys like Matt Washy who can come in and throw 5 innings. So if a starter doesn't go, 3-4 innings or he has trouble, we can bring Matt in and we know he's going to keep us in the ball game. I mean, the guy just pounds the strike zone. So having him there as a safety blanket for starters is great. Dylan Salzman is another guy that comes out and throws strikes and competes in the strike zone. And he's added a lot of movement to his fastball, which is really going to help him start to get ground balls. Austin's been working with Coach Levin on his sinker slider. and he's got a little more life on his sinker, and his slider's really developed some hard late bites. So he's a guy that could also bridge that gap. Connor Beasley's another guy that's really stepped up in velocity a little bit over the fall and so far this spring that's going to, I think, contribute some innings. But once you get to the back, Cates is a great eighth inning guy. The only deal with him is we're going to have to figure out with him playing the outfield how we're going to get him into the game without losing the DH. But he's got a phenomenal changeup. I mean, it's a big-time changeup. So when he throws that thing and he's on, he's really, really hard to hit. And then we want Matt Henning with the ball in the ninth inning with a lead. He's got the mentality to close out games. He goes right after guys, and he's a bulldog. He's the guy we want with the ball in his hand at the end of the game, and that's going to be his role. So we feel like we've got a good core of guys to get us to those two at the back end. And I think if we get in a situation where we got a lead late in the game, we'll get those two in, we'll be in pretty good shape.
I know in talking to you throughout the fall and into the spring, you're very confident in your catching situation. You've got a guy, Chris DeVille, who caught the majority of games last year for the Bearcats, also swung a big bat for McKendree last season, had some big hits in key situations. Then you had a newcomer like Matt De La Vega, who's another proven entity behind the plate, and that's a guy that provides a little versatility not only behind the plate as well.
Yeah, Chris is a stud. Just there it is. I mean, the guy can flat out catch, and he can flat out throw. He's going to control the running game. There's no doubt about that. I mean, a big difference in the Fall World Series that we played is the other team couldn't run on him. So, our pitchers all got better holding runners, and then you get an arm like that behind the plate. It makes it really difficult for opposing teams to run on us. But he's really, really worked hard on his, stick too. So now he's not just pulling everything; he's driving the ball the opposite field. He's hitting the ball off the left center field fence and the right center field fence. So he's very, very dangerous at the plate now, and we don't want to wear him out. And we've got a great option in Matty De La Vega. Matty has done a phenomenal job of getting his throwing arm stronger. He's been doing really well blocking. And he can flat out swing it. I mean, swinging it so well that he's going to vie for some time in the outfield too. So those two guys give us a great 1-2 punch behind the plate, and I'm very confident with those guys back there.
Yeah, you talk about Chris DeVille. His numbers last year threw out nearly 40% of would-be base stealers to 283 with 20 RBIs last year. So you plug that in with De La Vega, it's a nice 1-2 punch back there.
Absolutely, I'd put those up against any catchers in the conference. I really would. Those guys will be a big part of what we're doing this spring, no doubt about it.
How have your pitchers and catchers meshed throughout the fall and into the spring?
Very well. We're still working on what pitches to call in certain situations. We're going to let our pitchers call their own games. I think it speeds up the game, and I think it helps their learning curve. So sometimes we have to say, hey, that's not his best pitch. I wouldn't throw that there. Or, hey, that's his fourth best pitch. Let's not throw that. So there's still a little bit of learning to occur, but they're doing a good job. They're getting to know their pitchers better, and John, Coach Levin, he's doing a very good job of making sure that they're getting on the same page.
The big thing in talking to you, it sounds like there's a lot of versatility, guys that could start, guys that could come in, do the job in a pinch, maybe in a spot start, but roles are defined, and that's a good thing when you head into the season.
Yeah, I think so. And that's something that we're going to sit down and have a conversation with everybody before we leave on our first road trip. Hey, here's where we see you. This is what your role's going to be, and then yeah, it can increase. You can have a different role if you're playing well. So, if you're pitching well, you could move into a weekend spot, but this is where we see you right now. So I think knowing that they have a role to begin with is important, but to always know that their role can always increase. They can always have a different role if they continue to work hard and get better. But yeah, I think the guys pretty much know right now, okay, I'm going to be a starter. I need to build my pitch count up, or guys that, hey, I'm going to throw every day. I need to be able to bounce back. So I think we're in a good spot right now.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time. That wraps up the first part of our season preview for 2017. Our next segment will focus on the position players, the infielders, the outfielders, and we'll get with that in our next segment. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Don't forget, you can follow McKendree Baseball all season long at mckbearcats.com.
Go Cats!